Are you finding that's what you're going to have to do, or that's what you've had to do the last couple of years?
No, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, the problem is that, the fight's being broadcast by Sky. There's only a certain amount of dates that each promoter's getting under the terms of this present deal, and I'm finding it very difficult. I've got to service the contract. I've always done big shows with, lots of title fights on. I enjoy doing that because I think it's great for boxing and certainly great for the fans. And we have to get on with it. And I just feel that this show has got some real good quality fights on there. There's 3 sort of 50-50 fights, and Frankie Gavin is probably a big favourite in the fight against Curtis Woodhouse. But again, I think that's going to be a competitive fight because I think Curtis is going to come to fight.
What you got in that fight is you got a little bit of needle, and that always adds a little bit of edge.
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I think there's a fantastic story behind the 4 fights on the bill there. If you look at Burns and Cook, okay, as a domestic fight, as a British fight, a world title fight involving 2 Brits, that's fantastic. It's a great backstory, and it is a test for Burns, because I think Cookie is living well in Tenerife. Then you got Mitchell and Murray. I know we've tried to get this on a couple of times already. That's about as good as it gets when you put 2 domestics in. Tony Bellew, for either the wrong or the right reasons, always entertains, possibly for the wrong reasons, because he does let his heart rule his head. And then, as you say, you got Frankie Gavin, who I happen to think is one of the best fighters, the best, relative novice fighters in the world, against Curtis Woodhouse, who's going to give it 100%. I think it's a cracker. I really do.
I do, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think Ricky Burns up in Scotland gets acres and acres of publicity, but unfortunately he's not captured the imagination of the English press. And he had a fantastic fight when he won the title against Martinez, and obviously Martinez is the guy that beat Nicky Cook.
Yeah, of course.
I thought Nicky was winning the fight until he
just fell apart. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he so much fell apart. What he did, he started having a tear up with a guy when he didn't need to, when he was outboxing him, and he got clips and. I
think he knew he was tired. I think he knew. I think he thought that he couldn't survive.
I'm not sure. I just think that he just thought that he hurt Martinez, and I think he then got careless in trying to finish the job early. Anyway, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The fact is, he's back in there now. And for him, it's a great opportunity. He's a former world champion. He's not like he's been in a million hard fights. And
of course not.
I think he'll drag it up on the night, and I think it's going to be hopefully will be a really good fight. And as for Kevin and Murray, that's going to be an interesting fight. That one. Well, it is, isn't it? Because you've got to see what did the Castellis fight? What has that taken out of Kevin? We all know what happened behind the scenes now,
and we know what happened since then as well. He's not been slow telling us, and that gives that a lot of edge.
It does, and it's like I said to him at the time. Excuses nobody cares about. No one wants to hear about hard luck stories because nearly everybody in the country is having a hard luck story trying to get a living.
That's the truth.
And when you've got something given to you on, an opportunity like he had given on a plate, and you can't take advantage of it, you've got to just look in the mirror and blame yourself. And excuses don't mean anything. So hopefully now, I know he's been training hard. I know Jimmy Tibbs has really been putting him through the, putting through the ringer. Hopefully he's learned for it. He's got some gas in the tank, and I think with John Murray, who's a real, himself had a few little problems early on in his career, but I think both of them now have got know how important this fight is, because the winner will definitely go on and get a crack at the world title.
Now, is this Rios, Frank, or someone else, or is it still open to discussions?
I do a lot of business, and I've got a great relationship with Bob Arum. I'm sure we could make that fight, but whatever the best opportunity is, I'll go for. And I just want to get the fight out of the way, and let's see where we go with the guys.
Listen, I don't like to sort of look ahead, but assuming Tony Bellew beats Oville McKenzie, can the Cleverly fight be made? Because we came close a couple of months ago before various things ended up sensibly curtailing it. But can that be made this year? Is that a fight you'd make this year, or would you like both of them to sort of build up the rivalry?
No, I think if we're going to make it off the back of what happened, around the last time with the press, the fight was even a tenth as good as the press conference. The fans are being for a great treat.
That's the truth.
And I think it's one that I would like to make sooner rather than later. It's not the end of the world forever wins or lose.
Absolutely.
The loser of the fight. And I think more importantly, like I said to Tony, he mustn't even think about it at the moment because he's going to have a hard task on his hands. I mean, the last fight he had with McKenzie was a cracker. I mean, it was an exciting fight. I mean, and I think that Mackenzie's not coming to make up the numbers. That's for sure.
No. I mean, Mackenzie feels hard done by, and he's got a case. Equally, Tony's got a case when he tells people to stop moaning about the stoppage. I was close that night. I don't know whether you were still at ringside, because I know there was a lot of fights on that night, but I was really close that night. I'd sort of changed seats. I was about 8 foot away, and when that referee stopped the fight, Oville Mackenzie was in dreamland. He may have come round 30 seconds later, but he was gone when it was stopped.
The referee, I think, like you say, was dead on. I think he called it right, and that's how it is. And as I say, we've made, he's got the rematch, so we'll see what the position is.
It's his turn to do it now.
Tony's a quality fighter. I mean, he has to work very hard to make the weight. There's times I thought maybe he should be fine at cruiserweight, but he can make the weight. He's very dedicated. He's very meticulous in his preparation, which was a shame, all that hard work he's putting in the past, all that nonsense that happened around the pull-out by Bramer against Cleverly when he came in. But he is meticulous. He's worked very hard, and he knows what he's got to gain here. So it's this for him can be his chance of getting a crack at the world title.
Fran, let me ask you this finally. It's been tough out there, the last few years for everybody in all sorts of businesses. Has it been harder to sell, say, this show than a similar style show 5 years ago, 3 years ago, in your personal opinion?
To be quite honest, I think that people are coming to the events. We're getting the people coming to the shows. The only thing I don't like about this show, I don't like running shows the week kids break up from school because parents and people got other things to do with their money, about holidays and so forth. It's a little bit late for me. I normally pack it in by sort of the first week of July.
It's far too late. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. But we've had a real good turnout for it. We're going to have a good crowd there. They love their boxing up in Liverpool. I think we worked very hard to turn it into a fight town as far as delivering regular shows there, and the fans have come out for us. So I think we're going to have a good night. I think there can be some cracking fights, and I think that at the end of the day, it's going to show that boxing's not just about the heavyweight division, which annoys me. I read some of this stuff like Pat Collins on Sunday in the Mail
attacking us, attacking all of us.
But he does it constantly. He does it, and he does it. And do you know why? The only attack that he can have is over the heavyweight division. You can't do it in the other divisions.
No, and it's really, and just finally, as a thought, it's really sad. The amount of space that I got in the papers I work for pre-Hay, and the amount of space I'm not getting in those papers pre this night. Even though I've tried to sell it left, right, and centre. To be honest with you.
Well, the thing is, everybody slags off Hay for talking about ripping people's heads off and all the stupid comments he makes. Forget about the fight for a second, all the comments. But that gets ink. And guys who are decent fighters, like Ricky Burns, you couldn't meet a more consummate and nicer guy than him. Can't get sometimes can't get a line in the paper. No. What's something's wrong here. I mean, and then even if Hay had won, they get castigated for what they've done. It's just beyond me. And some of it, it's just I don't know. I think lunatics have taken over the asylum, and boxing's much better than that. It's much better than that as a sport. The people involved are much better than that, and I just think it's sad that the likes of the Pat Collins of this world don't actually start. They don't attend shows anyway. You never see them at a fight.
No, I've never been at a fight.
Actually, come along and see if boxing is dead, and see if the people who are there don't like it, and see and see for himself. Talk to some of these guys rather than listen to all the crap that comes out. For people who are very lucky in a position where they can earn millions of pounds yet not deliver.
Listen, Frank, I couldn't. You and I could do could do that rant on a regular basis, and it would take forever. Listen, Frank, thanks very much for your time. Enjoy your fight, and I'll speak to you later on. Frank Warren there. Thanks very much. Indeed, it's true. These guys, they pick holes in us. They, these big writers in papers, and some people commenting on radio and TV, and it's not fair. We get tarred now.